Blue Hole, the graveyard for divers. In April 2000, Yuri Lipski, a scuba diving instructor, died while attempting to dive the Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt. His death remains the most famous incident at the site, largely because he captured his final moments on a helmet-mounted camera. Diving the Blue Hole had been a dream of Lipski's for several years. Although he was alone when he arrived in Dahab, he sought out a partner to avoid diving solo, eventually finding a local man to accompany him. Despite promising his father he would not do anything dangerous, Lipski attempted a dive that far exceeded the safety limits of his equipment and gas mixture. Lipski was using regular air, which is not recommended for depths below 40 meters. As he descended, he would have been increasingly affected by nitrogen narcosis, a condition that causes intoxication and impaired judgment. The footage shows Lipski descending into pitch-black water very quickly. By the time he checked his dive computer, he was at 81 meters, nearly twice the recommended depth for regular air. Lipski was carrying too much weight. As the pressure increased at depth, his buoyancy control became less effective. In a desperate attempt to rise, he tried to inflate his buoyancy control device, BCD, but it burst because it was overfilled at such an extreme depth. Now I will let you watch the real footage of Yuri's camera. Occasionally, you'll see the inner wall in the bottom of the frame, but pay attention to just how dark the water gets in just a few moments. Now is maybe a good time to mention that Yuri is only using regular air. As he was descending, he would have been increasingly affected by nitrogen narcosis, and in addition to that, his buoyancy control would have become less and less effective as the pressure increased. The water is already so dark that it's unbelievable. Right here, he looks at his dive computer to check his depth, and it reads 81 meters or 265 feet. Regular air isn't recommended below 40 meters. Yuri is almost twice as deep as that. For the next few moments, you're going to see him struggle along the bottom of whatever ledge he's come to rest on, and it's unclear how aware he is of what's happening. In a second, you're going to hear the hiss of air as he tries to inflate his buoyancy control device. Unfortunately, Yuri is too deep, and the equipment he has is too heavy. He struggles around for another few moments, possibly desperately trying to swim up, but it's already too late. The camera cuts off while Yuri is still trying to navigate the terrifying situation he is in. About 40 minutes later, when Yuri didn't return from the water, everyone knew what that meant. He was eventually found by the bone collector, Tarek Omar, at a depth of 91 meters, approximately 300 feet. Lying face down, Tarek Omar volunteered to recover Lipski's body the day after the incident, following a plea from Lipski's father. At the time, this was the deepest recovery ever performed. Omar recovered Lipski's personal belongings, including his camera. Because the camera was only rated for 75 meters, Omar assumed it was broken and that no footage had been captured.
I watched his equipment and I watched the housing from the outside. We tried to open the housing and I was surprised that the camera is dry and I have even a bit of dust on it. We ran the camera, plugged it on the electricity, and we ran the camera, and it was very sad.
However, the camera was still functional and had recorded Lipski's entire struggle. This harrowing footage was accidentally played in front of Lipski's parents. Omar later stated that had he known the camera worked, he would have flooded it himself to spare them that pain. Today, the footage from Yuri Lipski's final dive is used as a stark warning to new divers about the rapid onset of danger and the unforgiving nature of the blue hole